Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer, so now let's talk silver. First things first, I'm doing a massive silver and gold giveaway coming up as we are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Hop on the train. You don't want to miss the entry video, which will be coming very, very shortly, with probably some of the biggest prizes in the silver stacking YouTube community that we've ever seen. So make sure you click that subscribe button and also click the bell. If you wanted to buy some of this shiny stuff, then I recommend Miles Franklin. Andy Scheckman is the CEO. You've probably seen him on my channel or somewhere. He's all over the internet. He's basically the go-to guy right now for not only precious metals, but geopolitical concerns as well with the BRICS nations. He's all over Kitco News, Robert Kiyosaki. He's everywhere. He's the CEO. All you got to do is send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let him know Silver Slayer sent you. That will help you out. It helps me out as well. They will match any major competitor's price, and they are one of the only authorized dealers that still works with the U.S. Mint, as the U.S. Mint kicked everyone else out. They banned everyone, said no, nobody can buy from us anymore. Only a handful of dealers, and Miles Franklin is one of those dealers. So I highly recommend you buy from them. It's like buying from your friend compared to some random store, right? Because Andy will help you out, and if something did go wrong, you could just email me and I'll put you in contact with him. That's why they have had zero complaints in 35 years, because if they do make a mistake, Andy will fix it. So anyways, yeah, wanted to get that stuff out of the way. Remember the giveaway as well. We have an article here. Silver is significantly underpriced given the looming supply shortage. Now, when you're talking about something that's underpriced or overpriced, undervalued or overvalued, wouldn't you want to invest into something that's undervalued? If you look at the use case for silver versus the use case for gold, gold makes no sense to sit at $2,000. That's kind of just a man-made price if you want to talk about scarcity or coming out of the Earth's crust, right? It comes out 7 to 1. So if it comes out of the Earth's crust 7 to 1, then why in the world is the gold to silver ratio sitting at 75, 85 to 1? It should still be 7 to 1, especially given the fact that silver's a byproduct, that most silver's thrown away. And most importantly, that silver has many more uses than gold does, times 100. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity. So why would gold be the one that's 85 times more valuable? So given the current macroeconomic environment and the supply and demand dynamics, silver is significantly undervalued at $24 to $25 an ounce. The bullish case for silver in the mainstream typically revolves around price inflation. And like Andy says, like he always says, price is the greatest tool of misdirection. Since silver's price is only $24, $25, nobody's looking at it. And that means that it's cheap, and all these banks and these countries are buying boatloads of it behind everyone's back as it sits at $24, $25. Like India buying, what, how much, 700 million ounces last year, something like that. Elon Musk buying silver mines now. These countries know what they're doing. Why would you want to buy silver at $500 when you can get it at $25? So they suppress the price, manipulate the price, rig the price on the COMEX so they can get it for cheaper. And when I say rig the price, yes, this is not a conspiracy. People are going to prison for this. So let's rig the price, keep it low, buy boatloads of it, and then as things fall apart on the COMEX, as the COMEX will collapse, silver's true value will come out. And I say by the year 2025, 2026. So there are certainly reasons to think inflation is stickier than the powers that want to admit, and that the Federal Reserve isn't going to be able to win the inflation fight. That is bullish for both silver and gold. And that's kind of why I say silver is the best of both worlds. Because whether you're talking about the micro or the macro, silver's bullish. Whether you want to go the Federal Reserve CPI inflation route, that's bullish for silver as the dollar collapses, as the dollar has lost 98% of its original purchasing power, as America's 30-something trillion dollars in debt, as we are overspending. As that happens, that is very bullish for gold and silver. But then you also have a silver shortage, which is extremely bullish for silver, not so much gold though. And there's a reason why my name is Silver Slayer and not Gold Slayer. So I think that silver and gold are both great investments. Silver just has a lot more potential and opportunity. So he doesn't hear a lot of people in the mainstream talking about the looming supply shortage in the silver markets. And that's where I come in. That's where Andy Schectman comes in. That's where David Morgan comes in. That's where Ted Butler comes in. That's where Keith Neumeyer comes in. We're the ones exposing the supply shortage. All these other articles, they're just talking about the micro, where we're talking about the macro, the bigger picture, not the day-to-day prices of inflation. No, we're talking about a very serious event, and I say serious because we're headed into a new digital age, technological era. Think about this. If we are trying to get zero net emissions by the year 2040 or 2050 or whatever, and go solar and all these EVs and solar panels, but we don't have enough silver to do that, then what does that mean? Tesla has to be put to a halt. Joe Biden or the next president coming out and saying we have to push back the Green New Deal. What would this mean? Because the numbers don't lie and the numbers don't add up. We don't have enough silver to do this. We truly don't. And like this part's saying, he doesn't hear a lot of people in the mainstream talking about the looming supply shortage in the silver market. In fact, the growing demand for silver in the solar power industry will likely put a significant squeeze on supply in the coming years, and the current price of silver does not reflect the likely shortages. And that's also what I talk about when I mention that low supply, high demand pushes the price up, and silver's natural price, given how useful it is, has not come into play yet. We haven't even started the Green New Deal, and we're already having a hard time coming up with this type of silver demand. 1.112 billion ounces last year, but we only have the production of around 850 million ounces in a good year, plus all this silver that's thrown away compared to gold that's recycled and reused and rescrapped. I mean, the cycle is only pointing towards a very, very disastrous situation, and also a bullish situation if you're stacking silver. So while the mainstream hasn't talked much about this, people in the industry are aware of what's going on. In an article published by Seeking Alpha, Silver Bullion PTE CEO Gregor Gregerson mentioned that he was intrigued by unofficial chatter about upcoming silver scarcities due to rapidly growing photovoltaic demands during the Asia Pacific Precious Metals Conference. We're already seeing a squeeze on the supply of silver. While silver demand set records in every category in 2022, supply was flat, with mine output falling by 0.6%. This resulted in a 237 million ounce market deficit in 2022. Record-breaking deficits. So if you want to talk about a silver shortage, we are growing in demand rapidly. And imagine in 5-10 years when every automobile company is electric, when we are completely solar, how much silver will we need then? Last year, 1.112 billion ounces. Will it be 3 billion ounces then? And if we already have a deficit of 237 million with mining output falling by 0.6%, then what does that mean? This means we are in a very serious situation where we're shooting ourselves in the foot, saying we're going to save the globe, zero net emissions, we're going to go solar, but we do not have enough silver to do so. And when they come out and say that silver word, which would be the word that makes this entire thing impossible, that's when its natural price could grow. It was the second consecutive annual deficit in a row. The Silver Institute called it possibly the most significant deficit on record. It also noted the combined shortfalls of the previous 2 years comfortably offset the cumulative surpluses of the last 11 years. This trend is not expected to reverse. As Gregerson noted, silver mine production has fallen due to a lack of investment. And there's a direct correlation to silver demand and its price. As silver, and if you look at a graph, it's almost exact. As demand grows, the price grows. And since we know that silver demand will be booming as we go digital in the next 5-10 years, then what does that tell us about the price? Meanwhile, the demand for solar power is rising rapidly, and that is going to drive the demand for silver significantly higher. The International Energy Association, the IEA, predicts that in 2023, investment in the solar power industry will exceed the amount of money flowing into oil production. Due to its outstanding electrical conductivity, silver is an important element in the production of solar panels. It's used to conduct electrical charges out of the solar cell and into the system. Each solar panel only uses a small amount of silver, but with the demand for solar panels growing exponentially every year, those small amounts add up. Plus, those solar panels are thrown away with a very short half-life, never to have the silver recycled out of them. And yes, we're talking about a small amount of silver in solar panels, but we're talking about 58 grams of silver per EV. They're trying to cut it down to 20 something, but still, regardless. Then we're talking about 500 ounces of silver in a single tip of a Russian Tomahawk missile. 500 ounces. According to a research paper by scientists at the University of New South Wales, solar manufacturers will likely require over 20% of the current annual silver supply by 2027. And by 2050, solar panel production will use approximately 85 to 98% of the current global silver reserves. So that's just an impossible feat. That just tells you that coming up in the foreseeable future, we will be in a situation where we just don't have enough silver, that it's gone, and we will be able to set the price. The producers turn into the consumers, and the consumers turn into the producers. A few years ago, analysts projected that the amount of silver used in solar panels would fall, and I remember that. After all, silver is expensive, and there is a strong incentive to find alternatives. In fact, the amount of silver used in the production of solar panels has been reduced about 80%. And that won't even put a dent in the amount of the demand. That won't even put a dent in the supply chain. But that trend is expected to reverse. The Australian paper noted that more efficient N-type technologies now being developed require even more silver than the current PERC cells that make up more than 80% of the current market. So TOPCon and SHJ panels require 30 to 80% more silver than the older technologies. Some argue demand for silver in solar energy production will eventually flatten as the industry develops cheaper alternatives to the white metal. But according to paper, even if the industry reduces the use of silver demand, it will still increase. The results show that the current rate of reduction in silver consumption is not sufficient to avoid increasing silver demand from the PV industry, and that the transition to high efficiency technologies, including TOPCon, a more advanced N-type silicon cell technology, first scaled in 2019. So, regardless, these recession worries would typically dampen industrial demand for silver. But the PV industry, photovoltaic cells used in solar panels, the photovoltaic industry is essentially a recession-proof due to the support from governments around the world, with battling climate change a priority. It is highly unlikely investment in solar power and other green energy technologies will fall even in the midst of an economic downturn. So we have this safety net. All of this signals a rapid increase in silver demand in an environment of constrained supply. Economics 101 tells you that higher demand with a corresponding increase in supply will lead to increasing prices. Like I always say, investing 101, low supply, high demand shoots the price up. This demand cannot be satisfied by financial derivatives, nor can it be the kind of unallocated silver which are often sold without substantial backing for investors. Photovoltaic demand is poised to drain global physical reserves of silver. Should the 2024 production capacity reach 1,000 gigawatts as predicted by the IEA, the required photovoltaic silver demand would likely surpass 500 million troy ounces of silver by mid-decade. It is very unlikely that such demand could be satisfied drastically or without drastically higher silver prices or much higher physical metal premiums. And that's what I was talking about mid-decade, 2025, 2026. That's when I talk about triple digit silver. Silver isn't currently priced for this dynamic. In fact, silver is significantly undervalued compared to gold. And then they go over the gold to silver ratio at 81 to 1. And that means it takes 81 ounces of gold to buy an ounce of silver. I don't know why the ratio is that high when silver has 81,000 times more uses. Back in ancient biblical times, it used to be 2.5 to 1. It was 2.5 part silver equals 1 part gold. If you want to try to backdate even further, it was 1 to 1. But since gold is more scarce, it was 7 to 1 for thousands of years because that's the ratio it came out of the ground. Then it was 16 to 1 all the way until 1930 when FDR got in office and changed it from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1 overnight. FDR single-handedly just devoured silver's value. Man-made. This wasn't something that happened naturally. So, anyways, I thought this was a really good article. Here's the conclusion. So, in conclusion, the photovoltaic industry's impending impact on silver pricing cannot be overlooked. As the silver shortages loom on the horizon, it is only a matter of time before mainstream media reports on these significant developments. Once the news spreads, we can anticipate substantial price surges in the silver market. Now is the time to buy while silver is effectively on sale. Now is the time to buy. And if you did want to buy, I recommend Miles Franklin, one of the only few authorized dealers. Send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know, hey, say Silver Slayer sent me. Let them know that what you want, or ask them what their inventory price sheet is, and place your order. They will get you set up. They will make you. They'll make sure that you are happy. And if you are unhappy, then email me or email them, or I'll get you in touch personally. I'll call Andy up and say, hey, this person in particular, and I've done this before, in particular has a problem, and Andy will fix it. So it's a surefire way to make sure that you're buying silver from someone you can trust. It's like buying from your friend compared to buying from some random person behind a screen that doesn't care who you are. Also, make sure to enter my silver giveaway that is coming up very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe as we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. We are so close. I appreciate you all so much. I love you all so much. Thanks for being patient. I know I haven't made videos in weeks, but I'm going to start posting more regularly. Again, I'm back, baby, and I'm coming back stronger than ever. Andy Scheckman and I have a weekly show. We're going to be kicking that back up again as well. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.